What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the future of entertainment. Now, I feel like I come from an interesting perspective. I started my career in photography and videography, and I got into social media and content creation. You know, I got to work with brands like Golden State Warriors and Ubisoft and DoorDash. So I think I have an interesting perspective on this, and I'd love to know what you guys think. So let's just jump into it. Now, 3D cameras have been around for a very long time. 1922 to be exact. And they didn't really become incredibly popular until James Cameron started using them to create these IMAX experiences. When you were growing up, I'm sure at a museum you saw these IMAX experiences where they take you all around the world. They were really cool, but the problem with 3D content for a very long time is it was bad to consume. Right? Like the eyesight stuff with these polarized lenses, and you know, it just really, I mean, people would get nauseous watching 3D movies. But with the invention of you know, these VR headsets, this content's been a lot easier to consume for people. So this kind of changes the game for 3D movies, and to be honest, in the next couple years, I don't see 3D movies not just taking off to an incredible level. It's impactful to choose this type of content because it has, you know, a lot of effects on how you create it, right? So, for example, what 3D cameras do is they essentially shoot with two different camera lenses and they point them at the subject, right? And this allows you to create a level of depth of field, right? That allows you to, you know, control where people's eyesight is going within the movie. It's a storytelling mechanism, right? And how these cameras were made or are still being made is these two lenses will tilt on an axis and they will be fully motorized and they will follow the subject matter. So it's quite an intricate process, and then stitching all these 3D images together is also a really difficult process. So people, you know, didn't do it for a very long time. There wasn't a huge demand for it. I just watched the new Mission Impossible movie in 3D, and it wasn't like an absolutely flawless experience, but it was totally consumable. And you know, I really liked that experience. But then on the other side, you have Apple really pushing this immersive experience type of content. And this is a lot different than your conventional three-dimensional movie. The idea with this fully immersive content is that you can observe a scene in 180 degrees. But the ramifications of that on the equipment that you need and the limitations of that equipment start to become really, really important. So I have watched all of these immersive experiences already, and you know, they're really interesting, right? Because they put you in this location, you know? And in order to do that, you need some incredibly wide angle lenses. And rather than your conventional three-dimensional, you know, camera where both of these lenses are pointed at the same subject, right? These lenses don't get to do that. They have to shoot parallel to the environment in order to get that sort of, you know, 180 degree feel. And what you sacrifice when you do that is like a ton of storytelling mechanisms. Like, you lose the ability to like really have a level of depth of field. And the thing with this, you know, immersive experiences is that they want you to really feel like you're there. But a big part of feeling like you're actually there is having full, you know, freedom of movement. You want to be able to walk around this scene and look at it from different angles, right? Now, that still doesn't get you that fully immersed, you know, feeling. The only way to really solve that problem is to create this environment in something like Unreal Engine, right? Which will give you the freedom of not having to film the entire set in real life, right? Which I don't even think is possible. And when it comes to actors and actresses and all of that stuff, there's, you know, well-established ways to scan someone's body and then put them in a three-dimensional space, which I don't see a way around that kind of acting, which I think is really going to change how we look at the creation of movies and TV shows in the future. Cameras are going to be used to capture actors. They're going to do all of their acting in a little pod full of cameras, right? And then they're going to put them in this Unreal Engine environment, and you'll have full freedom of movement, which is basically like a video game with you know, no interaction on your part other than watching it. And you know, companies are trying to, you know, create platforms for people to capture these immersive experiences. For example, I'll put up this Canon camera right here, the Creator Kit. And you can see this has the two lenses, they shoot in 180 degrees, all good, right? But that has its limitations, and it takes away your fundamental ability to tell a compelling story. And you know, I think this is pretty depressing for the average creator, to be honest. Because think about this, look at the Avengers movie, right? The Avengers movie, some of those shots were shot on a Canon 5D Mark II. That was the camera that first introduced video features on a DSLR. The Avengers use this. And look how much they are. You can just buy one of these. For the first time in history, making content and compelling stories for the average person it's finally accessible. And look at the impacts that it's had. We've seen independent films absolutely explode. Some of the best things that have come out in recent years, especially in 2020 and 2021, it was independent films. People like you and me were able to compete on a world stage for the first time in history. And now, because of these goddamn ski goggles, we're gonna lose the ability to compete in that space. It's gonna become so unbelievably expensive to create content for these things that it's gonna basically phase us out of the content creation world until these prices go down. And then once again, we can compete. And you know, as much as I didn't want to admit that these VR headsets were gonna be the future, and as much as I didn't want them to be completely honest, I don't think this reality is avoidable. If I had any advice for the average creator who's trying to put out independent films and compete with Hollywood, is start taking this really seriously. Because I didn't want to like this, but damn it if I don't love this thing, and damn it if I don't want to watch 3D movies on this thing. So we got to try to get ahead of this and prepare ourselves for what that world looks like. And I don't necessarily know how you do that, but I do know that it's important and you guys should be taking it seriously. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a brand new channel. We only have like 29 subscribers. So if you guys wouldn't mind supporting the channel, giving me a like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day. And these things are gonna cause the apocalypse.